All right, let's talk about Python. It's one of the most popular programming languages on the planet, and for good reason. It's the kind of language that can take a tiny spark of an idea and turn it into a full-blown, powerful application. Ever thought about building your own website, or maybe automating a really boring task? Well, this is where it all begins.
And this isn't some obscure language just for tech geniuses. I mean, we're talking about the engine behind apps you probably use every single day. The code that powers Instagram's feed? Python. The magic behind Spotify's music recommendations? Python. Dropbox's cloud storage? You guessed it. It's the real deal, turning huge ideas into apps we can't live without.
So that's the big question, isn't it? What's the secret sauce? How can a language be simple enough for someone writing their very first line of code, but also powerful enough for the biggest tech companies in the world? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down right now, from its basic grammar all the way to its incredible capabilities.
Okay, first things first, let's tackle why Python seems to be, well, everywhere. We're going to see how its super simple, readable design makes it the go-to language for literally everyone, from students just starting out to data scientists at Google. And the reason you'll see is actually pretty straightforward.
You see, the whole philosophy behind Python is just simplicity. If you've ever looked at other programming languages, they can look like a jumble of weird symbols and confusing rules. Python, on the other hand, reads almost like plain English. This makes the learning curve way, way gentler, so you can focus on solving problems instead of fighting with the language itself.
So, if we're going to learn to speak Python, we've got to start with the basics, right? The grammar. Just like any language, Python has its own set of rules and building blocks that you use to tell the computer what to do. But don't worry, it's a lot more logical than memorizing verb conjugations.
First up, variables. Honestly, the easiest way to think about a variable is as a little labeled box. You can create a box, name it something like user_name, and then put a piece of information inside it, like the name Alex. Anytime you need that information later, you just ask for the user_box. It's how programs remember things.
So, what kind of stuff can we actually put in these boxes? Well, for a beginner, it really boils down to three main types you see here. You've got strings, which is just text. You've got numbers, which are, well, numbers. And you have booleans, which are super simple. They're just true or false. Almost everything you build at the start is just a creative mix of these three.
And now we get to the really fun part, making decisions. This is how your program starts to think. With something called an if statement, you can check if a certain condition is true. If it is a hot day, do one thing. If it's not, do something else. This simple logic is the absolute core of how programs adapt and respond to different situations.
Okay, so we've got the basic words and sentences down. Now let's learn how to write entire paragraphs and chapters. In this next part, we're going to look at functions and loops. These are the tools that make our code way more efficient and a whole lot more powerful.
Picture this, right? You need to greet 10 different users. You could just write the same hello message and copy-paste it 10 times. I mean, it would work, but it's messy. And what if you needed to greet 1,000 users or 1,000,000? That's just not going to cut it.
Exactly. There has to be a better way. A huge part of programming is about working smart, not hard. We need a way to write that greeting logic just once and then use it over and over again whenever we need it.
And that's where functions come in. A function is basically like creating your own custom command. You bundle up a block of code, give it a name like greet_user, and from then on, you can just call that command whenever you want, as many times as you want. It's clean, organized, and super efficient.
But what if you want to do something to, say, every single item in a long list? That's a job for a loop. A loop is your little automation robot. It will run the same piece of code again and again and again until the job is done. This is the absolute powerhouse behind any kind of automation.
All right, we are definitely leveling up now. Functions and loops are fantastic for organizing actions. But what about organizing things? Complex, real-world objects like a car, or a user profile, or a product in an online store. For that, we need a way to structure our code that's a bit more sophisticated. And that's where we get into object-oriented programming.
The main idea here is something called a class. And the blueprint analogy is perfect. A class isn't the actual car itself, it's the design for the car. It defines what a car should have. We call those attributes like color or model, and what it should be able to do, we call those methods like drive or brake.
And in Python, creating this blueprint is ridiculously simple. You literally just write class car. That's it. With that one little line, we've basically created a template that we can now use to build as many different cars as we could possibly want.
And now, we use that blueprint to build an actual, tangible thing. This is what we call an object. So my car is a specific instance of the car class. It's a Tesla Model S. Your car might be a Ford Mustang. We're using the same blueprint, but creating different unique objects. This is fundamentally how most modern software is built.
So, we've gone through the grammar, the structures, and the blueprints. What can you actually do with all this? Let's get to the good stuff. Let's look at some of the incredible, real-world applications that make Python a true superpower in the tech world.
First off, if you hate boring, repetitive office work, Python is about to become your best friend. With just a few lines of code, you can write a script that rips through thousands of spreadsheets, organizes data, and generates reports, all automatically. It can literally save you hours or even days of manual work.
And then there's the really mind-bending stuff. We're talking artificial intelligence and machine learning. Python is, without a doubt, the #1 language in this field. Things like the recommendation engine on YouTube or models that predict stock prices. A massive amount of that is built with Python. It's building the brains of the future.
Ever wondered how Google manages to index pretty much the entire internet? A big part of that is a technique called web scraping. With Python, you can build a bot that browses websites, pulls out specific pieces of information, like prices from an online store or headlines from a news site, and saves it all for you. It's an incredibly powerful way to gather data.
And this brings us right back to where we started. Using powerful tools called frameworks like Django and Flask, developers build the complex back-end systems for huge, data-driven websites. We're talking about the very sites we mentioned before, like Instagram and Spotify. These frameworks handle all the heavy lifting, like talking to databases and managing user accounts.
So when you boil it all down, Python isn't just a programming language. It's a tool for creating things. It's simple enough that you can start learning it today, but it's powerful enough to build almost anything you can possibly imagine. The only real limit is your own curiosity. So the question is, what will you create?